Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. Ah, man, I tell you, it's just been a wonderful day of catch up for me, man. I knocked out a bunch of trailers earlier on in the day, knocked out the remaining, movie reviews that I had to knock out. We saw The Grinch over the weekend, really good. Check that review out. If you dig The Grinch, go see The Grinch. It's a fun movie, man. You'll enjoy it. If you're a fan of the classic Grinch, you'll enjoy it. We ain't here for the Grinch, man. We are here for a little number that teams up David Mackenzie and Chris Pine again. Yes, the first time they teamed up together for Hell or High Water. Oscar caliber material came out of it. And that was what got me psyched about this movie initially. When it came out and I saw the trailer came out, I was like, all right, man, David Mackenzie, Chris Pine, I'm in. And then the video did huge. The most views I'd ever had on any video up to that point. And that made me go, huh, all right, there's a real interest here. And then I started digging into things, right? And you come to find out that, like, Robert the Bruce, the way that kind of Braveheart made William Wallace seem like he was the guy that led, Scotland to freedom. Look, William Wallace, major contributor, plays a big role, but the Braveheart movie, wildly historically inaccurate. And this movie, coming from Mackenzie and Pine, was going to give you the true-to-life, real accurate, Robert the Bruce story, who really was the one who got Scotland to freedom. So when I started to look more into it, I got more and more excited for this movie. And I'm so excited. I don't want to wait anymore, man. Pull up a chair, take a seat. We are getting ready to dive into Outlaw King. Yes, that's right. The Netflix original that came out on the 9th. What was nice is, unlike some of the other Netflix originals that are going to make, awards runs, this preview didn't come out early. Right? I didn't see any, screenings anywhere in the theater for this. So I was able to just relax at home, pop it on, and enjoy the heck out of this movie. David Mackenzie, Chris Pine, you done it again. I love period pieces, and medieval period pieces especially. Just something about chainmail armor, and the chainmail armor in this movie is really, really good. But just seeing all of the different things from that time period, I'm always interested. I was always a big, King Arthur fan, and this time period in specifics is something that I'm always in for. And I think Mackenzie really does a great job of capturing that time period and delivering all the material in this movie in a really realistic, gritty way. The stuff Mackenzie's doing behind the camera is wonderful. He has this opening, about 10-minute sequence at the beginning that's just spellbinding, man. Like, you just sit there and you watch it and you're like, this is a wonderful way to kind of flow into this movie as the camera kind of flows in and around where we are. And it's just a wonderful sequence. It gives Pine a nice early pop, where he can kind of stand out. It allows Billy Howell, who's going to be kind of his antagonist counterpart, to also pop a little bit. It's a really wonderful sequence. And then from there, Mackenzie just delivers tons of action, man. It doesn't spare us at all on any of the bloody, brutal fighting, man. We get muddy, we get bloody, we get down in the dirt. And a lot of the camera work up close, like real gritty. And look, there's a lot of blood, man. But for me, again, I'm always cool with it if it's realistic. And it never goes too far. There's just a lot of it. Because if you're fighting people with swords, I'm pretty sure every time you hit a dude, things should be spraying places. And that's the thing. It all looks and feels so real, so authentic. And it is. A lot of that, I always praised Any Given Sunday for being so good because of where the camera got, right? Like the way the camera got in on the football in ways you hadn't seen it before. And it's not that you've never seen these types of shots, but Game of Thrones did the same thing, where you can kind of really get in close on the action and hone more in on like one-on-one individual battles while chaos is going on behind you. And you really, really get to feel just how much of surviving war back then was luck as much as it was skill. And you get a ton of that in here, and I love that approach. I love getting in on the action that's close in combat like this, and it works, it pops, and there's lots of it, and it builds. It's a constant build to the final battle at the end. That's just wonderful. I thought everything that Mackenzie was doing behind the camera and from the director's chair was excellent. And it makes the director's job even easier when you have a lead like Chris Pine. And Chris Pine playing Robert the Bruce just crushed it, man. I really loved his performance. Look, I say it all the time. His chemistry with his co-stars is always really good, especially his female interest. But here it's just like everything, all of that kind of worked so well to deliver Robert the Bruce's story because of who he was, man. Like so many things that work for Chris Pine work for Robert the Bruce in ways that like give you this idea and this version, in the story of a guy who just wanted his people to be free, right? And that's why they call him the King of the King of Scots, right? Not the King of Scotland, because he couldn't be like the traditional King of Scotland because England kind of ran everything, but he could be the king for the people. Chris Pine's just natural, characteristics and who he is and personality just flowed perfectly into Robert the Bruce. He nails the action. I love his combat scenes. They work really well. He has absolutely wonderful sequences with Florence Pugh, who plays his wife Elizabeth. Their story is really awesome. The way he works in with all of the people that are in his army of 50, and his interactions with Aaron Taylor Johnson, just all really good, man. It just all plays really well. I just love this cast so much. And we mentioned Florence Pugh. She blew me away, man. I don't really know Florence Pugh from anything in particular that I've personally watched, but she just delivered like a really, really great performance. And the thing that I think I loved probably most about her performance, again, goes back to that chemistry with Chris Pine, and it's the love story that they choose to tell. And it's a wonderful love story to watch because she's kind of betrothed to him as King Edward is kind of like trying to smooth over the fact that we just stuffed Scotland's rebellion. As all of the different leaders, in that area kind of bend the knee to the king, for standing down and, being close to the Bruces. He gives his goddaughter Elizabeth her hand in marriage to Robert the Bruce. And the way he handles it, man, not traditional. It's with those kind of, and I like that. The way he approaches the marriage right after it happens, I just loved that story and how it just flowed into their love story. It's just wonderful to watch. And again, you get really, really awesome sequences. The wedding scene in particular gave you not a ton of stuff, but gave you some stuff they hadn't seen for wedding scenes before that adds more to, the culture of Scotland back then. And I really dug it, man. All of the time period stuff was just great throughout the movie. Someone else, though, that's great throughout this movie is Aaron Taylor Johnson, who plays James Douglas, someone who had legitimate claims to the throne of Scotland. And he said, look, I'm not here to try to claim the throne. I will support you, Robert the Bruce, if you can get us free. And Aaron Taylor Johnson's look in this movie is wild. I mean, from the hair to the beard, he looks like a wild man. And when he gets onto the battlefield, he is a wild man. That look works so well. There are like two shots in this movie where it's like on his face and he's just like in the throes of war. And you're like, yeah, okay, I get why you went to this look, Aaron Taylor Johnson, because man, does it add to the performance. And he does a really, really good job. Another really gritty performance. Loved all of his action sequences. He really enjoyed getting down and dirty, man. And I loved watching him on the battlefield, and I loved watching him interact with Bruce. They have a couple conversations, one in particular about revenge, that I just absolutely loved. And then I mentioned him early on, but the other big standout for me in this movie, Billy Howell, who plays Edward, Prince of Wales. He's King Edward's son, who, is our direct opposer to Robert the Bruce. King Edward basically puts young Edward as his person, like, you go get him, stop him, bring him home. And not everything plays out, Prince Edward's way. And he does have one of those sniveling kind of, sniveling, conniving little kind of, bitch boy, if you will, kind of attitudes, right? Like you see him, you're just like, oh man, you're such a bitch, and it works. It really, really works. He plays it really, really well, and gives you moments where he's not that guy. But ultimately, we see what Prince Edward is by the end of the movie, and that final encounter and confrontation with Robert the Bruce is just really awesome. I really dug Billy Howell's performance. I dug everybody in this movie, man. There are so many. Stephen Delane, who played King Edward, is great, and I could go on and on. There are so many people in this movie, but they all gave really, really good performances in a really, really, excellent medieval story that needed to be told. The Robert the Bruce story is really interesting, and it's delivered in a way that I absolutely loved. I thought this was a huge win for Netflix. This movie's definitely gonna get awards buzz. Just keep teaming up Chris Pine and David Mackenzie together over and over, right? I just love when we see these team ups work. Keep it going. You guys are 2 for 2 in my book, man. And like I said, big step forward for Netflix. They need movies like this. This might be the best movie to date for Netflix. I really, really dug Outlaw King. I could talk for hours, but I'm going to stop. I'm going to let you talk, man. Hit those comments down below. I know tons of you guys loved the trailer when I did my trailer reaction. Well, now I want to know, man. The movie is here. It's finally arrived. All the hype and buildup that's been, coming for this movie. You got to finally watch it, I hope. If you've seen it, let me know what you're thinking. If you've got spoilers, note them as such. But let me know everything you're thinking, man. Did you dig it? I really had a lot of great interactions with you guys on the trailer, and now I want to know all your guys' thoughts on the movie. So leave them down below in the comments. As always, if you dug this video, give me a good old thumbs up. And if you're new here, hit the subscribe and little bell so you get alerts every time I make a new video. For the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down, I'm Seaman, and I'm signing off. Peace!
Hey, still here, guys. Well, so is the Seaman, and I'm here to remind you that the fun doesn't have to stop. You can keep it going with just a couple clicks of a button. So make sure you check out videos, either here or here. And if you're new and haven't done it yet, please hit that subscribe button over here.